They lie to you. Ever since you were a child, you have been told a story about love that is at best incomplete and at worst profoundly destructive. We were taught that love is a hunt, a desperate search for our missing half, as Plato recounted in the myth of the androgynes. We have been convinced that out there is a person who will suddenly make sense of everything, who will fill our voids, and that once found, our sole mission will be to hold onto them tightly, forever. But look around, look at the relationships, look at the suffering, look at the anxiety surrounding this feeling. Love, among all human emotions, is the one that distracts us the most. It makes us euphoric, invincible, but at the same time anxious, terrified, and sometimes irreparably sad. All at the exact same moment. If love were really just a fairy tale that told us, why does it hurt so much? Why do we constantly change our definition of what it is throughout our lives? Perhaps because we are looking in the wrong direction. Today, we won't try to give a dictionary definition of love, because that's impossible. But we will try to delve into this mysterious force to scratch the surface of the most powerful energy in the universe. And to do so, we must first unlearn everything we think we know. Often, we fall into the trap of associating love exclusively with the romantic sphere. Prince Charming, the princess to be saved, insurmountable obstacles overcome for a happily ever after. While this vision is comforting on one end, it's incredibly reductive on the other. It reduces a cosmic force to a simple transaction between two individuals. Worse still, this narrative pushes us to confuse love with possession. My boyfriend, my girlfriend, my husband. We begin to treat the object of our love as just that, an object, a material possession to be acquired, held tightly, and locked in a golden cage so it cannot escape. But this materialistic and proprietary vision destroys the very meaning of the feeling. Psychoanalyst Erich Fromm, in his masterpiece The Art of Loving, pointed out how modern society experiences love as a problem of being loved rather than loving. We want to be chosen, we want to be possessed and to possess. But journalist and writer Katrin Schulz abruptly brings us back to reality with a fundamental thought. One of my axioms is that if you want to be in a relationship, you have to get it that you live with another person. The person isn't you. He is not merged with you. It's wonderful to feel close, unique, and appreciated, but true love requires a sacred distance. It requires respect for the otherness of the other. Loving someone does not mean absorbing them or being absorbed, but walking side by side, maintaining your own wholeness. When we try to fuse two identities, we are not creating love, we are creating dependency. To truly understand what love is, we must stop looking at it only through the lens of human romantic relationships. Nature itself, in all its forms, is infused with love. And I'm not speaking in poetic terms, but biological ones. Animals, forests, entire ecosystems survive thanks to networks of mutual aid and connection. The great trees in the forest nourish the younger shoot through immense networks of underground mycelium, exchanging resources. It is a vital force that drives towards union and mutual prosperity, a force that does not know the limits of our human ego. Love is a fire that burns inside us, and that biology urges us to give to those around us. When we allow this desire to flow without blocking it, we discover a wonderful paradox. Love is the only resource that the more it is consumed, the more it is generated. It feeds itself automatically. The more we give, the more we have available. Psychologist Barbara Fredrickson, a leading researcher in the field of positive emotions, revolutionized the concept of love in her book Love 2.0. She rejects the idea of love as an exclusive long-term bond. Instead, she defines it as a micro moment of positivity resonance. She writes, love belongs not to one person, but to pairs of groups of people. It resides within connections. This means that the force of love can manifest at any moment. In a look exchanged with a stranger who smiles at you on the street, in helping a colleague, in petting an animal. It is the connection itself that generates the charge, not a marriage certificate. From here, we arrive at an uncomfortable truth, a truth we desperately try to avoid. Authentic love is a pure gift, and this gift is not always synonymous with happiness. How many times have you heard or said the phrase, "I suffered for love"? Immediately, we think of a rejection, a betrayal, a story that ended badly. But in reality, suffering is intrinsic to love itself, even when things are going well. Because loving means opening a branch in your own armor. Think of a maternal or paternal love. As Stephen King wrote in his novel Dolores Claiborne, a mother's love for her child is perhaps the most powerful form of love there is. It is an irrational love. It wants nothing in return. It is total. This type of love exposes you to the greatest pain imaginable, because the well-being of another creature becomes more important than your own. Love is something visceral, instinctual, that often drives us to act against our own rational interest. It is irrationality par excellence. But it is exactly this irrationality, this willingness to suffer for something or someone outside of ourselves, that makes us feel dramatically, unequivocally alive. This brings us to a fascinating conflict, the perennial struggle between love and intelligence. We often see them as two opposite poles, the heart versus the brain, blind passion versus cold logic. But if we look at the history of our evolution, we discover something incredible. Our complex intelligence, our rational prefrontal cortex, developed from a much older and primitive brain. The limbic system, the center of our emotions and our instincts for connection, was there long before we learned to do math or philosophize. Love, the instinct for care and bonding, is our primordial essence. Intelligence came later. We might even dare to say that our capacity to reason was able to develop only thanks to that foundation of deep connection that kept the tribe together. And it is no coincidence that love extends beyond the living beings, merging precisely with intelligence. Let's talk about the word philosophy, which literally means love of wisdom. Love is not limited to people. One can feel a burning, intangible, yet tremendously powerful love for knowledge, for art, for the universe. Studying a complex concept, understanding how a star works, admiring a painting, these actions connect us with the infinite. They make us experience an ecstasy and a pleasure that transcend the flesh. However, there is an ancient adage that always proves true. In order to love others and the world, you must first love yourself. And be careful, there is a huge modern misunderstanding here. Loving oneself today is often confused with narcissism or superficial self-care, buying yourself something expensive, putting yourself at the center of the universe, excluding anyone who doesn't bring an immediate benefit. But this is the opposite of love. This is the triumph of the ego. True love for oneself is radical acceptance. Loving yourself for who you are, with your traumas, your insecurities, and your failures. Loving yourself not for the goals achieved or the medals pinned to your chest, but for the pure miracle of existing. When you reach this state of peaceful acceptance, something magical happens. The ego disappears. The constant need to defend your identity, to prove what you are worth, vanishes into thin air. And when the ego fades away, it gives way to the only thing that truly matters: connection. The rigid and isolated I dissolves and allows you to finally feel human. It allows you to see that you are not an island separated from the rest, but a wave in the ocean. Deep love makes us realize that there is an invisible thread tying anyone and everything together. In those moments of pure loving connection, whether it's a partner, admiring a sunset, or listening to a perfect melody, time stops. Past, present, and future mix. The separation between me and you becomes an illusion. We experience the wall. This is the foundation of the universe, a silent embrace to which we have all always been invited, because in truth, we have always been there. Love will always remain an ungraspable mystery. Philosophers, poets, scientists, and singers have tried to dissect it, explain it, and capture it. Yet, just when we think we have understood it, it slips through our fingers. We realize we haven't understood it at all. And that is exactly the beauty of it. It is not an equation to be solved, but a state of being to inhabit, a primordial force that we can experience every single day, in the smallest details, if we only stop trying to possess it and simply begin to participate in it. But now, I would like to stop for a moment. As you know, on Luminal Thinking, we do not look for easy answers, but for questions that dig deeper. I want to ask you something, and I invite you to take a moment to think about it before answering in the comments below. What was the most profound moment when you felt love, but it had absolutely nothing to do with a romantic relationship? A memory, an intuition, a gesture? Write it down below. I always read your comment. If this video has given you something to reflect on, don't immediately jump to the next piece of content. Take a few seconds of silence. Subscribe to the channel if you want to continue exploring the labyrinth of the human mind with me. See you soon.